Robert F. Kennedy Jr., frustrated at being given the cold shoulder by the left-leaning media, is now considering a third-party run.
They're trying to make sure that I can't participate at all in the political process, and so I'm going to keep all my options open. And I'll know, I'll have to make a decision after the 14th of this month.
Actually, 14th of October, but it's true. If you watch the cable news shows, you know RFK Jr. has been appearing a lot more on Fox News than CNN or MSNBC, which you would think is surprising, considering he's running in the Democratic primary. But you have to wonder, who would benefit more from an RFK third-party run? You would think Democrat running against Democrat would hurt Biden. I don't know if that's the case with RFK. One poll puts his favorability at 50% among GOP primary voters, compared to 38% of Democrats who view him favorably. In fact, a record low of 9% of potential Democratic primary voters now say they'd vote for Kennedy. Clearly, it's not Republican voters casting ballots in a Democratic primary, and RFK's campaign knows this.
I take many more votes from President Trump than I do from President Biden.
So you think it would be a net asset to Biden?
I think that may be one of the reasons they're trying to push me out of the party.
Kennedy's campaign manager dismissing there's any shift in messaging around a potential third-party bid, but his tone sure sounds like it's changed since he told Fox he had no plans to run in the third party.
No, I'm a Democrat. I'm a traditional Democrat, and part of my mission here is to summons the Democratic Party back to its traditional ideals. And I'm not surprised that the people who are aligned with the DNC, people who are closely aligned with the White House, are troubled by my candidacy.
Joining me now is Johanna Maska. She's a NewsNation political contributor who previously worked for President Obama. So what do you make of this? Who does it help?
Well, Democrats are worried about anything that's unexpected. They are very good at doing math, and they know what they need in each state. So if RFK Jr. got on the ballot in Michigan or something, they don't want that unknown in this race.
Even now, as the polls have gotten so much closer between Trump and Biden, particularly you look at the popular vote, they're tied, which is not good for Biden.
We don't know that they'll take from Trump.
Right.
I would expect that because
you would.
They're more conspiracy theorists that are trending towards Trump. But I'm not sure that we can bet on that. And Democrats, the one thing they want to make sure of is that Trump is not president of the United States again. And so for that reason, they're monitoring very closely what No Labels is doing, what RFK Jr. is doing to make sure that they're not going to get in the mix here. Because they also know that it's kind of a loveless marriage with Joe Biden. He's a candidate that was our vice president, but he wasn't the first choice when he was President Obama's vice president. He had lost multiple times. Now, he has, Gavin Newsom was obviously on Chris Cuomo tonight talking about all of the accomplishments. There are some Democrats who are saying he is very accomplished. He's done the things that Democrats want.
Well, if you're a public Democrat, you have to say that. Right?
Gavin, for sure.
Yeah, if you want to even be considered, look, the Republicans have the same issue with Trump. You can't criticize Trump, right?
Well, and he's on his surrogate list, right? Eric Adams was one who was on the surrogate list and is not on the surrogate list. I think, though, there are Democrats who are very happy that he got infrastructure investments, he got clean tech investments. They want to see what he's done continue. And so for that reason, they are doing everything they can to stand up his candidacy, make sure all of the affiliation groups, all of the unions are in support, which of course is a big question.
Right.
But they want to see them all come out, and they don't want them going to RFK Jr.
Right, but I do think if RFK Jr. runs at this point, that I'm just guessing here, because we actually looked for polling. I can't believe no one's actually a good poll hasn't asked this question, because I would think he would take more votes away from Trump than from Biden.
I have the same suspicion that you do, because, there are a lot of people who are vaccine skeptics in the Republican Party. Trump is going to have all these legal problems. When he has
anti-establishment.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider.
And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.